Arr, matey. It's International Talk Like a Pirate Day. Alright, that's enough of that, because frankly, I can't really see all that well like that. Let's put my glasses back on. So, last weekend, my wife and I had an opportunity to finally get around to seeing the Avengers movie. And this isn't a review. People have reviewed this movie to death, and I don't need to cover the film itself. Let me actually bring this back. Here we go. That's where I normally have it. But I did find some interesting things about it. First of all, I enjoyed the movie. I don't think it's the best Marvel superhero film I've seen. I would still think that Iron Man, the original, and the Norton Hulk are kind of vying for that position. I really like those two movies. But this was a solid film, and I really get into it. But what I found interesting is how they set it up, set the story up, and how they paced it, and some of the specific scenes I thought were very interesting. Now, first off, I'm a lover of, well, at least I could say I really was a lover. Now I guess I'm a liker of 4-color comics. I don't read them any longer, but at one time they were a major part of my life. And I always loved the big, bad fights. Slugging it out in the streets. People using their abilities in every way possible trying to take out their opponent. Whether it was the hero and the bad guy, or two bad guys, or even two heroes. And in this particular film, we got to see a number of drag-out, knockdown slugfests between both two heroes and between the heroes and the bad guys. And those battles, and they were sprinkled out throughout the film, I thought were very well done, and they really kind of made that little kid in me like, oh, this is so cool! Very enjoyable. The director and the writer had a problem on their hands, and I'm not sure if it's the same person. I know Joss Whedon directed. I don't know who wrote it. I don't remember. They had a team of 6 characters, 3 of which are godlike. Hulk, Thor, and Iron Man, well, in his armor. These people are major league sluggers. They individually can take on entire military battalions. Then you have Captain America, who is a super soldier. He can probably handle taking on a platoon by himself. He is better and faster and stronger and tougher than any human being is ever going to be. He is the first part of the whole weapons program. That became the Weapons X, that became Wolverine in the second to the last. I believe that Deadpool was the last in the program. I'm not sure if there's any others in the program. You'll have to tell me if there are. I don't read comics any longer. But then you have Black Widow and Hawkeye. Now, I love Hawkeye. I've been into archery at least as a fan, if not necessarily a participant, for my whole life. The idea of the Zen concept of a man or person and their bow and sighting down that shaft, or this way if you're European, is fascinating, and I've loved it. I've read up on Zen archery. In fact, it's a very interesting topic. I recommend it. Now, those two people are human. They're peak humans. They're the best humans can be, and Hawkeye is arguably probably the best archery shot that's ever lived, but Black Widow and Hawkeye are humans. So, how do you reconcile 2 humans, a super soldier, and 3 godlings all in one party? That's a tough row to hoe. So one of the things they did right from the get-go, and I didn't actually know this, so I applaud everyone who reviewed this film. I did not actually know this was going to happen, so it was a nice surprise. They co-opt Hawkeye from the get-go. From like almost the first moment of the film, Hawkeye works for the bad guys. And this does something interesting. It means now you have to contrive fewer scenes for the good guy party, because there's only one mere human in the good guy party now. And the other good guy, who's now working for the bad guys, who's merely human, can show the audience what he is capable of doing on his own. Because the only hero in the bad guy team, or superhero I should say, was a villain, which is Loki. The rest of them are all just bright or agents or what have you. They're mercenaries. So that was a masterful stroke. So by the time Hawkeye rejoins the party, he's established what he's done. We haven't had to have as many contrived scenes. And now we know he's going to be a useful asset to the party. And using Black Widow, Natasha, who's Romanoff, I think? I'm not sure. As the intel gatherer, besides being a kick-ass superhero secret agent was also very well done. The fact that she could become whoever she needed to be for that interview, that interrogation, so that the person felt that they were in control, and thus revealed what she needed to know. She manipulated them. It was all psychological warfare, psyops, and it was incredibly well done. I was really like, bravo. And of course, the scene that showed off her assets in the interrogation scene was well received by the male audience. It kind of made me smile. My wife wanted to start smacking people between the people in front of us and our friend who was with us, because she was oohing eyeing over Captain America's assets. It was entertaining. Now, the rest of the film very much was that setup of, we have a bunch of disparate characters we have to bring together as a team, and again, that is what the film was about, the forming of the Avengers. Now, Agent Coulson, I think it's Coulson, when he dies, and he says, "That's okay, boss. This wouldn't have worked if," then he dies. He's not talking about the fact that he individually is so important. I don't think Agent Coulson had that kind of an ego. I don't think for a moment that he actually thought that his individual death meant enough to the people in the Avengers to bring them together. But what he did know is that Fury would use his death to bring them together. He would find a way to manipulate the situation for the maximum impact to manipulate the Avengers. And Fury did. Because Fury isn't necessarily their friend. He's their commander. And he's willing to do whatever it takes to get them to function as a team. And since he can't order them around, he has to manipulate them just like the Black Widow did. All very well done. I was really impressed by that. Now, near the end of the film, the third act, when it's big climactic, aliens are invading and all this stuff's going on, and Loki's trying to show the world that he's going to be our leader and things, there's a scene where he faces off against the Hulk. And I didn't know about it. So again, it was a pleasant surprise. I was quite pleased about it. And, you know, and Loki is the embodiment of ego. He cannot break out of the narrative that he is a leader, and he must find someone to lead. He must be the top dog, whether it's in Asgard or on Earth. He has to. That's who and what he is. And so he's like spouting off to the Hulk. Probably not the best person to give a soliloquy to. You know, your monologue is probably being lost on the Hulk, you know what I mean? But the Hulk is the embodiment of the id. He is Mr. Hyde. So when there's that pause for a moment, and Loki is expecting there to be a reaction, and Hulk reaches over and just grabs him and ragdolls him on the ground like Raggedy Ann and Andy, man. It was like boom, 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 boom. And then he's out for the count. He is just down. And people in the audience laughed. I laughed because I thought it was funny. And again, it was that whole four-color comic scene. My wife was disturbed. My wife doesn't have a background in four-color comics. She has never really been into them on that level. And what she saw was an act of violence. Of profound violence. Violence that would have killed almost every other being that wasn't a godling. I'm not even sure Iron Man would have survived that particular scene all that well. Because remember, the angrier Hulk gets, the stronger he gets. But I thought it was well done because there are times when profound, unrestrained, absolute, forgive me, balls to the wall rage is the correct response. And that's what the Hulk was good at. When the Captain America looks at Hulk and says, "Hulk, smash." That was beautiful. Now, there were a few things in the film I thought were interesting. Now, I've always thought that the whole, are the Asgards actual gods or are they aliens, was a little more gray. And in this film, it's erased completely. It's explicitly, they're all aliens that just happened to have come here at one point in the past and impressed people enough to make people think that they were gods. They're tough aliens. They're godlings in their sense, but they actually are not divine beings. I was a little disappointed by that. I kind of liked the concept of that mystery existing. But I enjoyed the movie. I got into it. It was a fun ride. I'm looking forward to seeing it on DVD with commentary. I think that'll be a very entertaining trip. I hope Joss Whedon does it. And I think it has a certain level of viewability again. I can watch it more than once. I can watch Iron Man more than once. I can watch the Hulk more than once. And then to me, it's a good sign. Can I watch a film more than once? Apparently, my parrot's back. She knows it. Talk Like a Parrot Day. So I recommend this film. I'm sorry I'm got on so long, but I had a lot of thoughts about this film. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. And I recommend that people see it, not just for the fact that it's an action film, but for it's a very well-crafted superhero movie.